Hello, hello. I see people joining. Hello, hello. Hi, everyone. It is Noelle. I am here on Thursday. I know there's a lot of people registered, and then I know a lot of people probably won't join. It is just a few days before Christmas, and I completely understand people are very busy, but I'm very happy that people are joining. So hello, hello. We'll give it a couple minutes for people joining. Hi, hello. I see the number going up and up and up. So I'll give it a few more minutes like I always do and allow people the chance to join before I get started. Remember, today's topic is how to dominate when talking to motivated sellers. So obviously, when we are investing in real estate, one of the key things is getting the seller to sign the contract so that you have an equitable right to the property. Okay, so that's what contracts are. They're equitable rights to properties, and you need motivated sellers to get those contracts signed, and you need to get have control over the property. And so that's really what you're doing when you're trying to talk to sellers and you're trying to get motivated sellers to sign the contract. So that's what the topic today is going to be, just to remind everyone, giving everyone a few more minutes. Like I said, I'll give it just a couple more minutes to allow people to join, because I see the number just keeps going up and up. And this is going to be an awesome call today. Have some really great information for you guys, and I think this will be really helpful. And I'm taking requests. So remember, to the members of the group, the Women in Wealth Network, if you have questions or topics or things that you are seeing in the market that you would like to discuss, or you would like for me to talk on or train on, please do not hesitate to send me a message in the meetup. And then otherwise, and I'll just keep adding topics and keep giving out information. And so we can all grow, and we're growing our portfolios. And I'm so happy that so many members are taking advantage of the great market that we're in. And the 2019 forecast, if you were on that call, was awesome as well. The real estate market, we're in a great position right now. 2017 was one of the best years that we had in over 30 years in the real estate market. And 2018 is sizing up to be the same. Obviously, it's a little early until we get all of the forecasts. As you know, economists go through and they look back and then they do their comparisons, and there's some formulas that are used to determine what the year was. So it's kind of like a look back. So it's hard to say that 2018 was better than 2017, but I do believe in 2019, when we start to see those numbers, we will see that 2018 was better than 2017. And the beginning, especially like that first 6 to 8 months in 2019, first 9 months, sorry, you're thinking like the first 3 quarters are projected to be really strong as well in the real estate market. And so now is a really good time. If you're not investing, please do not miss this opportunity. I talk to women every day that have missed the opportunity that 07, 08, 09 brought to buy properties where they were employed and they did not have a financial situation. And there were so many real estate opportunities with people losing their homes, and they did not take advantage of that. And real estate investing, in some regards, is really about being opportunistic. And this is a great time to be investing in real estate. If you are a working person and you have a job and you're saying, okay, I want to increase my wealth, I want to either leave the 9 to 5 behind, or I want to supplement my income and have this cushion of income that's coming in either through lump sums or through passive income, now is an awesome time. 2018, 2019, great time to be investing in real estate. And you really want to make sure that you are positioning yourself, if you have not already begun, to get started, because there's just a lot of options, is really what I want to say to you all before we kind of get into the topic today, and kind of explain to you why I'm saying what I'm saying. Employment rates are very low. So I'll give you the economic indicators, obviously, that I always use behind some of the data, and I'll tell you why. And again, for those of you that don't know me, of course, Noelle Randall here. Hi. For those of you that don't know me, of course, mom of 5, full-time real estate investor, entrepreneur, but also was a corporate flunky. I worked in corporate America for many, many years, and I've invested in real estate for the last 14, off and on, doing certain things, but really taking it up. As the market really improves, you change your strategy. And right now we're in a great market. And so it's a great market for wholesaling, great market for fixing and flipping. Obviously, so because people are buying, employment rates are low, most people are employed, we are adding jobs to our economy at a very steady number. You know, I'm not saying like, oh, record-breaking numbers, but really, really steady economy that we have right now. And I know there are some people that are out here projecting recessions and all this doomsday, but to be really honest with you, for someone with a master's degree in economic development from Penn State, so I'm not like, you know, I didn't get it from like some, you know, not to be disrespectful, from some just any type of school. Like I really took this serious. I wrote a thesis on this about, you know, the economy, where my thesis on transit-oriented development, but we won't go there. But it's really about the multiplier effect. And one of the big things in any economy that you want to look at and be really clear on is what the housing market is doing. I know you have heard this before, and it is very true. You can ask any economist this, anyone with any type of advanced degree in business or economics. They are going to tell you the housing market is always a great indicator as to what the overall economy is doing, especially in the United States, because there are just so many industries tied to the housing market, everything from construction to stores, to stores, to even the retail stores that you wouldn't even think about. I'm not talking about Home Depot and Lowe's and builder supply stores. I'm also talking about other aspects. We call it the multiplier effect in economics, around how it affects every facet of the economy. And so with the housing market and the market that we're seeing right now and some of the trends that we are seeing, we can see that we're in a stable housing market. It is rising at a really good level. It's not like crazy numbers. We're not looking at like bubble type numbers where values are increasing so rapidly that there's all these warning signs that this is not going to be able to sustain. That is not the case. That was definitely the case in 04, 05. And when you look at the economic indicators, it was really clear that the housing market was going to bubble, and we're just really not seeing that right now. So some of the indicators and some of the people that are predicting these big doomsday crashes at the end of 2019, I'm not sure what data they're looking at, but the data that I am seeing in most markets, it is not. We have a very stable real estate market right now, and as long as our economy kind of just stays on the track that is on, and obviously we do have some areas that need to be improved. I'm not saying this is the perfect market, but I'm saying it's a really good time, especially if you're using the right strategies in real estate investing. Okay, this is a good time to for both passive and active in real estate investing strategies. So going back to what I was saying, all of the economic indicators for housing are positive right now. They are positive right now. Obviously, I say this often to people that work really closely with me. They know that real estate investing and real estate in general is the number one way to wealth in America. Over 89% of all millionaires, that is still a fact, are created through real estate. Additionally, it is a stable investment in general. It's beating out the stock market right now. It always has beaten out retirement funds and mutual funds and things of that nature. Has just like trending. If you look at all of the trends, even during the down market, outperforming all of those, because even when the market was down, of course, and the real estate market was down, of course, 401ks and mutual funds and all of those things were even worse. So this is a great time. I cannot stress this enough. If you are not investing in real estate, you really want to get started in it and start at least getting some properties under your belt, or start some wholesaling deals and start to take advantage of the opportunity that is there for you. Especially, I'm like begging women. We have so many responsibilities with our families, our children, ourselves. We're responsible for. We're underrepresented in this market, very, very underrepresented, which is, a good thing for you, because if you get into it and you know what you're doing, this is a great opportunity for you to really make some money and really improve your situation, because there's just not enough of us doing this. And it's really ironic because it's not that difficult. And there's more and more women going to college, getting college degrees, getting graduate degrees, and we're really outperforming our male counterparts in a lot of other areas, yet we're not necessarily doing that in the real estate investing industry, and we would really dominate. And so what I'm saying is dominating sellers when you're talking to them and knowing what you're talking about is going to be really key. So I just really wanted to go over that information with you guys so that you are really clear with the why you want to, if you're not already, start investing in real estate. get some wholesaling, at least at the very minimum, get some wholesale deals kind of under your belt. If you don't necessarily know what that is, obviously I'll give you opportunity if you stay to the end where we could talk about it a little bit more if you wanted to talk to me one-on-one about this. So let's get into today's topic, okay? Because this is going to be really awesome. We're talking about dominating sellers. When you talk to sellers, what do you say to them? How should you say it? What are some of their objections? What would I say to a seller? I get so many people that I work really closely with where that's their biggest fear is, okay, this part is pretty easy, the marketing or, putting out signs or putting ads, whatever it is that you're doing to market to find people. And I have videos and you guys have been on some of those trainings, but now we're to the point where we're saying, okay, I'm talking to a seller. They have this property problem. And, for an example on this, I'll just say, they have a situation where they're behind on their mortgage payments. Okay, it's just an easy one for me. So I'll and for people to understand, they're behind on their mortgage payments and they need to get out of the house because the house isn't the problem. It's the mortgage that's the problem. And so what is it that I would say to them? What would I offer to them? Okay, so let me give you some quick tips as to how that works, what you want to say, and how you want to approach talking to motivated sellers. Okay, so step number one, you always want to talk to a seller from a position of power, or from a position of being the professional, okay? You want to make sure that you're talking to them as a professional, that you know what you're speaking about, and that you've done a little bit of research prior to getting on the phone with them. Now, if they call you off of the call, sometimes obviously you don't have the time to do that preparation, but you would be prepared in having a script that you would always say to people. There's certain questions that you want to write down and make sure that you're always asking every seller. Okay. And obviously there's questions sprinkled in there about two different areas. There's questions that are about the property. And then there's questions about why they're wanting to sell the property. Okay. What their motivation is. So there's two different areas and two types of questions that you're going to make sure that you have in your script when talking to seller. So let's talking to sellers. So let me talk to you first about the first thing. So I said the first thing is you want to ask property questions to make sure that the property is sound, stable. It's an investment that you would want to make. It's in an area that you would be interested in, or and you're really clear about knowing everything that you can and getting all of the information from the seller that you can about the property. Now, of course, once you're done with the conversation, you're going to do your due diligence and you're going to check and verify and confirm the information that they tell you. But it's really important to make sure that you're asking questions about the property and getting all of the information that you can about the property so that you can do your due diligence properly. So in the case where you're going to be wholesaling, you're doing basically the legwork for the investor that you're going to be flipping the contract to. So this is super important that you have all of the information about the property so that you then can flip the contract to a real estate investor that will then, rehab the property and, or put a tenant in it, whatever they decide to do. So again, this is just from the standpoint of wholesaling, okay? And for those who don't know, let me quickly just take a sidebar and explain what wholesaling is. So remember, wholesaling is when you find someone with a property problem, you get that property under contract, using and or signs or an assignment agreement or something to that effect. That's a separate course. I won't, because I would veer into that and we'd be talking about that for another 20 minutes. So I'm just giving you the general concept of wholesaling. And then you take that contract and you flip it to an investor who will then rehab the property and then sell it, or rehab the property and put a tenant in it. Those are the two major things. I can really get into some more advanced strategies about equity partnering and things like that, but I won't go there on this call. I'm really talking to you, and I want to stay focused on you got the seller. So step two, and what I said, step one is finding the property. Step two is talking to the seller, converting them. And then step three is then flipping that contract. Okay. So again, wholesaling situation. So what I'm talking to you about and teaching you about is step two, where you're talking to that motivated seller and you are now trying to get that person under contract. Okay. So again, what do you say to that person? Two types of questions that you're going to ask. But do you just go into the conversation and start asking questions? Of course not. You're going to have to build rapport. Okay. And you want to do that quickly, because when you call the seller, they're going to have their guard up. They are absolutely going to have their guard up, and although you're there to help and you're offering them a solution, they're going to be really guarded. And in some cases, they're defensive about how they got behind or why they want to sell or how much they really need for the property or how much they owe on it. And this is all information that you would need to be able to actually help them. So you want to make sure that when you're going into the conversation and you're first talking to them and you're trying to build that rapport, you immediately set the foundation that you are there to help. That is the key. And so many of our male counterparts, they see this so much as a business and not as a business where we're helping and we're solving problems, that they kind of just go right to it. And so, yes, I gave you and told you that there's two types of questions that you're going to be asking. One set of questions about the property, and then another set of questions about the motivation. But before you ever get to those conversations, you need to start breaking down the walls with that seller. They have a property problem. Something has happened that they can no longer keep that house, or they need to sell that house quickly. And you are there to solve that problem and help them. Therefore, you need to be someone that is offering help, and you need to go into that with that spirit. And so before you ever get to the point where you're asking questions, you first ask permission to ask questions. Okay. So that's a really great way to immediately start bringing down those walls, bringing down that defensiveness that they're going to have when you're talking to them, and start to get them where they trust you a little bit. And you have to be a trustworthy person. So, before anything that I tell you, it's really going to hinge on your integrity and your motivation. And so I say that, with love, that you have to care about people. You have to be someone that wants to offer solutions and sees this business and sees yourself as someone that is a person that helps people and as a person that solves problems. And that is how you increase your wealth, where you are, obviously we have our goals, and I talk to women all the time that have their goals on how they want their life to be, what their income goals are, what their lifestyle goals are, what their time freedom is. And real estate investing offers you all of that. I promise you, it offers all of you that, where you can make lots of money helping people. Lots of money helping people. And I mean, at your job, most of the time, even lawyers and doctors, they're at $200 and $300 an hour. And real estate investing, honestly, most of the stuff that you do are $2,000 an hour activities, the stuff that you do. Because your minimum deals are usually $5,000, and then your average deals are in the range of $20,000. So this can be very lucrative if you set it up correctly, and if you go into it with the spirit that this is a business for you and you're in the business of helping others. So when you're talking to the seller, you got them on the phone, either they called you or you called them. Now, in most cases, I like for people to call me, and I set up a lot of my marketing where they're calling me. I know there's other people that teach you a lot of other things, and some of you know a lot of other strategies where you would call them. For example, you would buy a list of people that are behind, using the same example, buy a list of people that are behind on their mortgage payments and market to them, and then call them, and then try to get them under contract, and then flip that contract. And that is a strategy that works, and one that I have used, not necessarily one that is for everyone. I think that's kind of the problem with real estate investing. There's so much information that people get overwhelmed with the information, and they don't do what's best for them. They just try to do a strategy based on something that they know or something that they saw. And real estate investing, especially as a business, you really have to get really targeted with what you're doing so that you're not all over the place. Because if you set up your business where you're all over the place, you're not going to have the time freedom that you're looking for. So most people that I talk to that want to get into real estate investing, they want a different lifestyle. They want more income, and they want to quit their job, or they want the option to be able to quit the job because they've made enough money where they're now able to do that. And so with that said, if you create a business where you're constantly chasing or doing all of these different things, you don't have a business that's carved out to say, okay, on Mondays and Tuesdays, I do these activities, and on Wednesdays, I only do this, and then Thursday, and then I don't work on Friday. So I'm just using that as an example for my business. And so when you're doing that, if you're all over the place with different strategies, like, oh, I do yellow letters, and I do bandit signs, and I do wholesaling, and I do this, and I do that, and oh, somebody told me about tax liens, and I could buy tax liens, and I could do this, and you're just all over the place, and you don't have the strategy that's designed for you, you're probably going to be into a problem. And the worst part of that is you're probably not going to get to the part where I'm talking to you about, where you're talking to sellers, okay, and on a consistent basis, where it's just an activity that you do. You carve out a couple of hours to call them or have them call you, and you convert them. Okay. So kind of back to so just kind of keep that in mind, write that down and just kind of keep that in mind. So let's go back to talking to sellers, what you're saying to them. Okay. One of the key things that you want to make sure that you are asking and that you do is that you have a set script. Okay. And I don't mean a set script in that every single seller that you talk to is the same, because every seller that you talk to is not the same. Some of them will have many different scenarios for you, but you want to make sure that you always get the same information. Okay. And there's a very particular way in which you will get to find out what their motivation is. Okay. Because that's going to be key. So yes, you need the information about the property, but if you really want to convert and dominate them, you got to get to that story. Why are they selling this property? What happened? And you need them to tell you the full story. You don't want, oh, this happened and because like I said, remember, they're very defensive. They don't trust you. They don't know what you're up to. They don't know what your intentions are, if you're going to try to take advantage. And so they're going to be really guarded with why. And you're not going to ever be able to convert them if you don't get to that why. Okay. So it's a very particular way in which I speak to sellers, in a very particular way in which I teach, people that work really close to me, that I've taught them how to speak to sellers. And that is going to be getting to that why. You really want to get to that crux. And there's a really particular way in which we do it. But I'll tell you the gist of it is getting to the why, getting to what that story is. And if you can do that, that is how you dominate the sellers. I am telling you, if you can get to why they are selling the property and really start to connect to that story, and then match what you do and how and why they should deal with you and not mess around with listing the property with a real estate agent. Some people just jump to all the benefits of working with a real estate investor, which is saving money, which is, you're going to save on commissions. You're going to do this. I can close really quickly. I can do this. I buy houses in any condition, blah, blah, blah. And they just start jumping and trying to get to that point. You do not even go there with the sellers until after you have established really clearly why they are selling the property and what their motivation is. Okay. So again, make sure you're writing this down. Make sure you clearly understand this. Okay. And what I'm going to do for you is tell you that there's a formula to it. Okay. There's a really particular formula to it that just works. And it all hinges upon that why. So you're talking to them, you have your script, you understand that concept. If you really want to dominate the situation, don't go into it trying to dominate the situation. So I know the purpose of this call and this training is called Dominating Sellers, but do not go in there and just immediately start dominating them and telling them all the reasons why they should do it and trying to get them to sign the contract and all these other things. You really want to take your time and be patient and find out the why. If you never get to the story and that real why, you're never going to be able to get them to convert. That's the key. The key to the conversion is in that story. It is in that why. It is in the pain that they are currently in. What does that mean? What does that mean for their life? How is this impacting them? Can they sleep at night? Are they embarrassed? What are they feeling? Okay. What are they feeling now? And then how can you change that? What is life going to look like after they've worked with you and now they don't have this problem anymore? Okay. So you do this transition where you take them from why and the pain and the struggle that they're going through, and then you transition to how awesome it's going to be when they don't have to worry about this anymore. Okay. And that's the real secret to it. And there's a few things to it. And people that work really close to me, we do some role playing and things like that. And it works really well. But for those of you that are on this call and you're getting this concept, that's it. And if you start to practice, and again, this is, totally free. This is Noelle just sharing with you. This is it. And as a woman, I cannot stress to you enough what an advantage you have. Because yes, I said they come with barriers and they have their walls up, but a lot of times with women, especially if you have a softer personality where, yes, you're smart and you're speaking professionally and you know your stuff and you're not just in there rambling or being insecure about what you're talking about, but you also are a woman. And just for some reason, people in our society see women as more nurturing, and they see us as more as a caregiver. And so you want to use that to your advantage. And that's how women really, we take over sometimes with that situation, because use that to your advantage. Don't go in there and try to be a man. Don't go in there and try to and pat your chest and macho up. Embrace your womanhood. Embrace your nurturing side. Embrace that listening and that compassion that we are so good at. That is the key. That is why when we do invest in real estate, why we do make more money than men, because we can use that feminine side of us. And I don't mean feminine as in heterosexual or anything like that. This is nothing sleazy or sexual. Please don't take anything of what I'm saying to mean that. And I'm sorry, I'm not like knock the camera when I said that, because I'm really, really serious. That's not at all what I'm talking about or where I'm going with this, because that would negate the first thing that I told you, which is being a professional, being a helper, going in there as a businesswoman, because you are going in there as a businesswoman and you are helping or businessman. Obviously I know there's probably women on the call. I know there's men on the call because you guys said hi to me in the beginning in the chat. So I get that. But so that it's not that. It's really though, and men can do this too. And I do have men that work really closely with me, and I've trained them on this almost psychology of dealing with sellers and using that psychology. And there's some really cool things that you can do psychologically to make sure that you build trust early, that you're gaining that credibility early, because those are the two things that you want to start to build really early: is the trust, the credibility, and for them to see you as the expert. Okay. So that's really the key. And so hopefully you're getting this concept. You totally got something out of what I was saying, and you're starting to understand, okay, this is the mentality that I go into this with, and this is how I will dominate with sellers and how I'm going to get those contracts. And two, that is how you'll be able to do the more savvier stuff that we talk about, where you're doing those contracts, you're doing it with an option fee. So that you're not risking, especially again, when we're talking about just wholesaling, where you're not risking your money, or the most that you could possibly lose in this situation is $10, because again, you're the expert in the situation. You're writing the contract to your benefit so that you can then wholesale the property, because you know what your intentions are with that property when you're talking to that seller, especially if you kind of go in it, that one of your strategies that are for you is to wholesale. You want to make sure that you are writing the contract so that you can do that. Okay. So, this call was, been rambling on, and hopefully you guys got something out of it. I don't want to start rambling too much about the contract itself. I can have a different class where I can talk to you about writing the contract to make sure that you are protecting yourself, where you're not in a situation where you could lose money, where you're not at risk. Again, real estate investing in the smart and the savvy way is about making money. I'm never going to be telling you things that is going to be risking your money. Like I said, when you're writing the contract, I do very small option fees that allow me the opportunity to then go shop the contract. And if for some reason, which this is very rare, I can't find someone, I can't match that contract to an investor that wants to buy it, I can just cancel the contract, and then I would only lose the option fee of $10. So this is really simple stuff. But step two is really important, because you have nothing to then monetize. The contract is the money. You don't have anything to make money with if you can't get the seller to sign the contract. Okay. So I'm going to give you one more tool, and I want you to write this down because this is important too. And then I'm going to have to start wrapping up. Is make sure that when it's time for the seller to sign the contract. And I'm using that that term with you guys, but I want to be really clear. Do not ever say that. Okay. Do not ever say to a seller, okay, go ahead and let's sign this contract. You're going to freak them out. You're going to scare them, and they're going to immediately go back on their heels. You want to use the terms and write this down. Confirm the agreement. You call it an agreement. And then if you're asking them to sign somewhere, you're asking them to confirm. Okay. And then that's where they would sign. You don't need to say I'm signing contracts. Well, again, most people are not real estate investors, or they don't sell real estate every day. And when you start to say the word contracts, they get really scared. For some reason, that word just triggers a fear in people. So you really want to stay away from that word altogether. Okay. So that is a diamond, a gem I just dropped on you guys. Remember, confirm the terms of the agreement, or confirm the agreement, or confirm here. When you're saying sign here, do not say sign here, confirm here. Okay, go ahead and confirm here. Confirm here. Okay. So I'm going to, and again, also never leave the contract with them. If you get to a situation, and I'll talk about a couple of ways where, people that work really closely with me, they know never leave the contract. So I'm sharing that information with you guys as well. Never leave the contract with the seller. You don't want to do that. You don't want them shopping your numbers. You don't want them taking those numbers. You don't want them sleeping on and thinking about it. You really want to make sure that you've told them what you could do to help them, given the benefits of how. And that's why you paint that picture for them. That's really why you paint the picture of how awesome life is going to be once they no longer have the burden. But before you can ever get to that point where you're transitioning with them, you got to get them to understand, you got to understand their story. So that's really the key to dominating sellers. Before I can teach you any of the more advanced stuff, you really got to understand the concept that you have to get to their story. You got to get to their motivation. You got to get to their why, and you really got to connect with them on a little bit deeper level. And I'm suggesting to you, use compassion. If you're a woman, use that, that automatic built-in nurturing position that you would have, that role in society, that kind of just own it at that point, that, oh, you see me as a nurturing person, own it. Just own it and embrace it, and be that person, and be nurturing, be caring, be compassionate. I'm not saying, Noelle's never telling you to do this in a fake way or a manipulative way. I'm telling you to do it genuinely, because that's where the money is. And it will be more money than you've ever imagine. And then you'll have the options to start turning away the deals that you don't want. And you'll also have the option to decide if, am I interested in this property, or I'm not interested in the property? Just so many come your way, because you know exactly what to say to sellers to always get them to sign. So once you master talking to them, and you master this psychology, then you're in a great position. So again, this is really, like I said, I always take this back to the 3 steps of real estate investing: marketing, converting, solving. So marketing to find them, converting, this is what I'm talking to you about, and then finding the solution. So this is not hard stuff. This is stuff that you could do. And if this is something that you really feel interested in, and you haven't done a deal yet, and you want more information, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do so. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a link here in this call, and in this webinar. And if you want to then schedule a call with me and talk with me, I'll give you that opportunity, and you can schedule a call and we can talk about it. If you feel like, you got something out of this and you really learned it, I really appreciate that for you. But this, because there's 3 major steps to this, the 3 steps. So this is not hard stuff. This is step 2. And then and it's about creating, again, the strategy that's best for you. So hopefully you guys got a lot out of this conversation. I have so much information that I would love to share with you guys. I just know that a lot of times people don't have a whole bunch of time to sit here and listen to me talk about different topics, but I really enjoy these calls with you guys. And please keep the topics coming. If you have a specific question or topic, I'm going to actually put a link, and you'll have the opportunity to just schedule a call, and you can ask me questions, or if you want to work, you want some mentorship, we can talk about that too. Or if you just, feel like, oh, okay, I get this part, but I don't get this part, let me know. Or if you have questions and you say, hey, could you just do a quick training on that? I'm totally happy to do that. I want to make sure our members are getting everything, and that we are taking advantage of this awesome market that we are in. It's really good market. It's really good money out here. And I'm encouraging you all to start doing if you're not already, start investing in real estate. This is a great time for you. And most of these women that I'm talking to, they are super smart. You guys are educated. You're working hard, raising families. And it wouldn't take much for you to say, oh, let me add this to it. And once you get that first taste of money, you'll be hooked. You'll be hooked, and it'll change your life. So like I said, talking to sellers, super important. Being able to convert, super important. Not hard stuff. Just takes a little bit of practice, maybe a little bit of role playing. So if it's something that you feel like you're interested in, if you're interested in talking to me more, or finding out more about the other 2 steps that I kind of told you about, and getting a strategy that's specifically for you, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go to wealthywomanblueprint.com, and there will be 2 free gifts for you there. One of which is a strategy session with me. If you want to talk and get on a call, we can schedule a call, and we can really talk about how to increase your personal wealth, because you don't want to miss this wave. You really don't. This is a great wave in real estate investing, and it's a great time to start getting some real lump sums of cash to really change your personal wealth situation. So again, this is Noelle. This is a great call. I really appreciate all of you guys on. I'm loving the comments that you guys are sending me. And here's a quick link to schedule that call and get your free gift if you are interested in getting the blueprint, or if you want to schedule a call. I always give that for you, because the blueprint is, if you just follow it, it's the money. And if you need something a little bit more individual, go ahead and schedule a call and we'll talk. All right. Bye, guys.